Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ringside Wrestling Entertainment. This is Joel Perez here for your Clash of Champions 2017 preview and predictions. And we're going to be talking everything Clash of Champions in this video. And when I mean everything, I mean the quality of Smackdown Live going in to Clash of Champions, the build to Clash of Champions, the matches on Clash of Champions, and how they are going to affect SmackDown Live coming out of the pay-per-view. We're going to be talking the build to the matches on this pay-per-view. We're going to be talking, of course, the winners and who we think we're going to predict. That's why it's called the preview and predictions. Wow, look at that one. We're going to predict who the winners are going to be for Clash of Champions. And of course, we're going to talk about the build to these matches. So of course, all that right here, talking everything Clash of Champions 2017 right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. So if you haven't been staying tuned with SmackDown Live, if you want an educated opinion to get a grasp on what's going to go down at this pay-per-view, how this pay-per-view is going to be significant to SmackDown Live going forward, we're going to be talking it all right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. I give you the truth, the unbarred truth on everything going on in the WWE. There's no garbage here telling you, sugarcoating, drinking that WWE Kool-Aid telling you this was good when it was actually terrible, or it was bad when it was actually good. We get it straight here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. And we're going to be talking about all that right here on the preview and predictions video for Clash of Champions. But before we do get into all of that, I just want to tell you guys to make sure to go check out all the other content on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel, because there is so much other content to go check out. Just this past week on Monday and Tuesday, you had your Monday Night Raw and SmackDown reviews on the channel. We're talking the good, the bad, and of course the very, very ugly that happened on both Raw and SmackDown. There was a lot of ugly on both Raw and SmackDown this past week. Of course, the go-home show to Clash of Champions on SmackDown, and Monday Night Raw building, I guess, towards the Royal Rumble at this point. I don't even know what they're building to on Raw. But make sure to go check that out on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. If you missed Raw this past week, or if you missed SmackDown this past week, or you want an educated opinion on what happened on these shows, right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel on Raw and SmackDown reviews. So make sure to go check that out. Just yesterday, yesterday at the time you guys are watching this video, because I'm recording it Wednesday night, but realistically it's going up Thursday morning. But yesterday we uploaded a breaking news video concerning the Mixed Match Challenge. Try saying that one 3 times fast. Mixed Match Challenge, regarding all the news concerning that. So if you want all the up-to-date news regarding the newly announced WWE Facebook show, we did a breaking news video on that just yesterday, so make sure to go check that one out. It's a short 12-minute video, so if you want shorter content on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel, because I know these videos aren't necessarily something that you can watch over a cup of tea. They're quite long, I know that, but that's besides the point, and they're going to get longer, because before I had a cap where I can only go an hour, now I can go a whole hour and 20 minutes, so that's awesome in and of itself. So they're going to be even longer when I need to go that long. So it's crazy the amount of content you're getting on here on the Ringside Wrestling channel, because not only is there a lot of content, but it's lengthy as well. So that's pretty great about this. And another reason you should subscribe to the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. Don't mean to stroke my own cock or anything, but you're getting a lot, a bang for your buck, a bang for what is a free buck right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. So make sure, if you enjoy what you hear on here, if you enjoy all the content on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel, subscribe, because it's not just those videos that I mentioned. We got videos coming, bro. Of course, what you're watching right here, preview and predictions. On Saturday, you have Behind the Mic, episode number 49. On Sunday, you got your Clash of Champions review and results. After that show goes off the air, we're going to be working on it right away. Probably going to be up like at 12 o'clock at night. So you can expect that there. And on top of that, after Clash of Champions, on top of the regularly scheduled content, you have top 10s, end of the year top 10s coming, where we're going to be talking top 10 matches of the year, top 10 superstars of the year, top 10 worst superstars of the year. I'm guaranteeing you guys at least 5 top 10s for the end of the year. So even that's coming, going into your holiday season. So that's or we're in the holiday season, going into your Christmas season, I guess you can say. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. All that content right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. Just another reason to subscribe, because you're going to be getting everything regarding the WWE. Smackdown reviews, Raw reviews, pay-per-view reviews, NXT TakeOver reviews, preview and predictions to the NXT TakeOvers and pay-per-views. You got top 10s, Behind the Mic, where we're talking all the biggest news stories of the week each and every single weekend. So all that great content right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. I don't understand why you wouldn't subscribe. Like I say, like every single video, if you have not subscribed yet, I honestly do not know what you are waiting for. When I say it, I mean it, because there's a lot to subscribe for. And you don't just have to subscribe, you can also click on that notification bell to get those notifications straight to your mobile device. You can also go check out the Twitter account, where we live tweet with Raws, Smackdowns, pay-per-views, NXT TakeOver specials, and you also get notified every time I upload. You can also go check out the description of the video, where if you are behind on Ringside Wrestling videos, you will find links to the last 10 videos. You'll find the link to the Twitter account. You'll get the weekly upload schedule on there and all that good stuff. So make sure to go check all of that out, and make sure to go check out the comment section as well, because the question of the day is, what do you think is going to be the best matchup at Clash of Champions? You look at this pay-per-view on paper, it does not look like the most impressive pay-per-view ever. So I'm kind of debating in my mind what's going to be the best matchup on this show. I mean, the main event has AJ Styles in it, but then you look at his opponent, Jinder Mahal, and you say, is that one really going to be any good? You got a tag team matchup being the most anticipated matchup on this show. So what do you guys think is going to be the best matchup on this show? Right now, I'm undecided as to what that can be. So make sure to go comment that, or reply to the comment that I will leave in the comment section below. Tell me what you think is going to be the best match at Clash of Champions. For now, ladies and gentlemen, that's all of it. That's all the stuff that I want you guys to go check out. I know it's a long segment of just plugs, but that's just how much you can do right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. So for now, we go straight into the preview and predictions, and like always, we start off by talking the quality of Smackdown Live going into Clash of Champions. And there is one word to describe what the quality of Smackdown Live has been going into Clash of Champions. It has been simply miserable. That's what it's been. It has been miserable. Smackdown Live has been absolutely miserable, mediocre, and downright boring television building into Clash of Champions. And I don't mean to be negative for those of you who don't like the negativity, but again, I told you, I bring you the truth right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel, and that's the truth. SmackDown Live has been generic and boring. For this entire time, all we've seen is small, subtle hints at a feud between Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan, and that's been the most interesting thing on SmackDown Live, and it's been subtle, it's been slow build, between Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan, and at the same time, we don't even know if that's going to happen or not. Then on top of that, you've just had mixes of Shinsuke Nakamura, Randy Orton, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens in the main event, and to this point, nausea. That's what it's been. I mean, the first few weeks it was very fresh, but it starts getting stale once these matches start repeating. And then you got this WWE Championship feud with Jinder Mahal in it, and I don't know how I can invest myself in Jinder Mahal, and I can see you guys agreeing with me on that one. How do you invest yourself in Jinder Mahal? I simply cannot, and I think you guys can agree with me on that one. I cannot invest myself in a Jinder Mahal feud. Then the women's division has been absolutely garbage. Why? Because you've had this entire women's division in peril because, first of all, you want to have the SmackDown and Raw women's division be absolutely parallel to each other. Like, the same thing is happening, but they're separate, right? And you got two factions on both Raw and SmackDown made up of women who have nothing to do with each other that reeks so much of what WWE tried to do when they were first starting this women's revolution or the Divas revolution with the factions, and it's just been absolutely boring, lazy, repetitive garbage on Raw and SmackDown. And SmackDown particularly is what we're speaking about here. That's what it's been. Then you got the tag teams, where the most over thing in the SmackDown Live roster has, besides Daniel Bryan, of course, has been Rusev and Aiden English and their act. And I mean, it's miserable. It really, really is. I have no other words. You're putting 4 tag teams in one match. Most of those tag teams, which have no business being in a tag team championship match. What is the New Day doing in a tag team championship match? They're at a point where they should be putting over others. Rusev and Aiden English, as great as they are, just formed a tag team. Why are they getting shots at the titles this quickly? Why aren't they in a matchup with Breezango in an actually competitive tag team division? I don't understand it. I really, really don't. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me how this is what you're doing with the roster that you have. SmackDown Live, if you look at it, has a better roster than Monday Night Raw. I would definitely argue that point. Shinsuke Nakamura, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, AJ Styles, Bobby Roode, Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, Randy Orton, all those names alone. On top of that, Rusev, Aiden English, you got the New Day, all those talents, and you're telling me that this is the best show you can put on? Out in the sidelines, Ty Dillinger is another one. You can be using Mike Kanellis, but of course WWE is not using him. Most people don't even know that name, who that name is, bro. Most people don't even know who that name is. It's miserable the way talent is being used on SmackDown Live. It really, really is miserable. Nobody stands out. Only people who stand out are Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And even their storylines are repetitive. It's not good television. And hopefully, coming out of Clash of Champions, we can get into some new feuds. We can have AJ Styles in a WWE Championship program that AJ Styles deserves to be in. We can have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn officially go into a feud with something, with somebody, hopefully, bro. Because these guys have just been wandering around SmackDown feuding with Shane McMahon. Meanwhile, we've seen the climax of what Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon are supposed to be. The climax of that is the Hell in a Cell matchup. Get Shinsuke Nakamura and Randy Orton in programs with somebody. They're not in a program with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. They're simply playing a pawn in this storyline. That's not what Shinsuke Nakamura is supposed to do. You're trying to convince me that this guy is going to go into the Royal Rumble and win it and go into WrestleMania for the WWE Championship, yet he's a pawn in a storyline with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. It makes no sense to me. Another thing is that trades need to be made. Randy Orton shows no interest on being on SmackDown Live, especially as a babyface. If it were up to me, Randy Orton would be a heel right now, feuding with Shinsuke Nakamura. That's the way I would do it. I would have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn be more of a singles competitor unit instead of being like a tag team, which is kind of what I look at them as, a tag team, when they should really be looked at as singles competitors. I want to see a Sami Zayn fighting for the United States Championship. Speaking of the United States Championship, I half the time forget that Baron Corbin is even the United States Champion. He's doing nothing with that title. Bobby Roode as a babyface is absolutely generic, and there's no interest in Bobby Roode as a babyface at all. His momentum has been dwindled, and then you're throwing Dolph Ziggler into this United States Championship matchup when he hasn't been seen on television in months. It's ridiculous. It really, really is. There's a whole rant to go on everything on this show, and it is absolutely ridiculous. I don't understand it. I do not understand it for a second. That's the quality of SmackDown Live going into Clash of Champions, and I think I discussed a lot of the build going into Clash of Champions as well. It makes no goddamn sense the way they're doing this. It really does not. And hopefully coming out of Clash of Champions, going into the build for the Royal Rumble, SmackDown Live and the creative team for SmackDown Live can stop being the opposite of creative, and they can actually start doing what they're called. They can actually start being what they're called, creative. Because right now, everything I'm seeing on WWE television, as far as SmackDown Live goes, and as far as Clash of Champions go, is lazy and boring. That's what I gotta say about that. For now, we're gonna go into the first matchup here, and that would be Mojo Rawley versus Zack Ryder. Now, this feud, I have no idea where they're going with this. I mean, literally, this feud has been the Hype Bros losing twice to the Bludgeon Brothers, Mojo Rawley turning on Zack Ryder, attacking him, and then cutting a small backstage promo for like a minute on SmackDown Live, explaining why he turned on Zack Ryder, saying that he won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and that he was doing good things as a singles competitor, and ever since Zack Ryder came back from his injury and came back into the equation, he has been dragged down. And that makes perfect sense. But besides that, we have not seen any development in this feud. As a matter of fact, I completely forgot this matchup was going to be on the Clash of Champions card. Why? Because it hasn't been on television. As if anybody cares. And this is why I was against splitting up the Hype Bros. Or I wasn't against it, but I really didn't care for it. Because WWE was not going to do anything with Mojo Rawley or Zack Ryder. And that's more prevalent than ever right now in what we're seeing as soon as these guys split up. I at least predicted that it was going to be a month of feud going into this meaningless pay-per-view, and then they're off TV. Their feud hasn't even been a month. Their feud hasn't even gone into the pay-per-view, and they're already off television. It's crazy. But then again, I'm not complaining because it's not like I'm super interested in seeing these guys feud and fight. Anyways, this matchup is going to be alright. It's going to be a win for Mojo Rawley, and Zack Ryder's going to fade into obscurity, into even more obscurity than he is now. He's probably going to be sitting at catering for the rest of his career or until he finds something else or another tag team. I hear people saying that he's going to team with Curt Hawkins. Isn't Curt Hawkins on Raw or something? Or at least I've seen graphics of that, I think. And then you got, whatchamacallit, Mojo Rawley, who as a heel presents nothing. He presents nothing. SmackDown Live's mid-card, and I mentioned the roster in my rant earlier about the build and the quality of SmackDown Live to this show. The SmackDown Live roster is packed. Why are you going to use a Mojo Rawley over Rusev? Why are you going to use a Mojo Rawley over a Ty Dillinger? Why are you going to use a Mojo Rawley over Kevin Owens, a Sami Zayn, a Shinsuke Nakamura, a Randy Orton? Why would you do that? You're not going to. This guy's going to fade into obscurity. The Hype Bros should have been kept together. As far as what's going to happen in this matchup, Mojo Rawley's going to win. He's probably going to look dominant against Zack Ryder. But at the end of the day, is anybody going to care? No. They're not going to care. Because first of all, this hasn't even been built properly. Second of all, everybody knows what the end result is going to be for these guys. It is going to be nothing. And when the ceiling is that low, I mean, realistically, you have no choice but not to care. So there you go with that one. We move on here to what's the next matchup on this goddamn card. We move on here to this one, which I'm actually quite interested in. The Bludgeon Brothers versus Breezango. Now, this is a matchup that I'm actually looking forward to. Now, you've had so many meaningless additions of the Fashion Files. It started off funny when Breezango was feuding with the Usos in the summer, I believe, going into a tag team championship matchup at Money in the Bank. It was funny, it was new, it was fresh, it was different. It's gone on for months now, and I haven't understood any of them for months now. It's ridiculous. So I'm thinking that these months of goddamn, I guess, Fashion Files, where something has been the case, I don't know what, has been leading towards them getting a match with the Bludgeon Brothers, or at least I'm assuming that that's what that was supposed to lead to, a match with the Bludgeon Brothers, because I don't know, I think I remember something on whatchamacallit, on the Fashion Files talking about 2B, and that was supposed to represent Bludgeon Brothers, I guess, but I think that's what this has been leading to. I'm not even sure. I am not even sure, but this seems to be a interesting matchup because this is realistically the first real legitimate opponents of the Bludgeon Brothers. Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder, the first week, were used as an instrument to debut these guys, and the second week they were used as an instrument to break up Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder. Ever since, they've been taking out jobbers. Now, Breezango is going to be their first real test, and this is going to be an interesting matchup because of that. I want to see what these guys can do against actually competitive opponents. It seems to be an interesting matchup because of that. What you've done with the Bludgeon Brothers has been very, very good so far. The music that they come out to is absolutely fantastic. The presentation of their entrance is absolutely fantastic. The way they've been portrayed to dominate is absolutely fantastic. They look great. They look replenished. In the ring, they're running around like they feel replenished. Now, hopefully, WWE sticks with this and continues to book them strong, and they do not become Ascension 2.0. Hopefully, they become what the Ascension should have been on Smackdown or on Monday Night Raw, wherever the hell they debuted, back when they debuted, as a dominant tag team and a force to be reckoned with on SmackDown Live. I'm enjoying what WWE is doing with these guys. They've finally done something correctly with Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, and they should take advantage of that because these are two very, very talented guys, and I think if booked correctly, they can definitely flourish. I think there's no doubt in my mind Bludgeon Brothers go over here. Hopefully, we see Breezango put up a fight, because another reason I'm excited for this matchup is that we have not seen Breezango inside the ring in God knows how long. It's been Fashion Files this, Fashion Files that, never inside the ring, when you know that Breezango can go. You know that. You know Tyler Breeze can wrestle. Probably one of the best wrestlers in the company right now. And we haven't seen him in the ring in months. That's a disgrace. So hopefully they do get to wrestle here and put on a good matchup against the Bludgeon Brothers. We move on to more tag team competition on this show. And it is a fatal four-way, 4 teams in 1 tag team matchup. So you got the New Day, Usos, Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin, and Rusev and Aiden English. So This is an interesting matchup. I mean, I do not like the fact that there's 4 teams. Like I mentioned in the little rant I did in the beginning, I said that there's no reason to be 4 teams here. If you ask me, it should have originally been the Usos and Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin. I mean, those were the guys who originally had the #1 contendership, and a couple weeks back on Smackdown, they actually beat the Usos in a tag team championship matchup by countout. Now you mean to tell me that they're not going to be #1 contenders? They're not going to get a 1-on-1 title rematch or a 2-on-2 title rematch? Now you're throwing all these teams in here just for the sake of getting them on the show? I mean, you could have very easily done the New Day versus Rusev and Aiden English. That sounds like an appealing matchup to me. Do that on pay-per-view. Give it 15 minutes. That matchup could very well steal the show. That sounds appealing to me. And then do Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin against the Usos. There's no reason to have 4 goddamn teams in one matchup. It's overkill. I'm tired of the multi-man matches this year. It is ridiculous. It really, really is. I am tired of it. But we're getting another one here, bro. Last pay-per-view of the year. You ain't going out without multi-man matches, right? My God. As far as who's going to win this matchup, I think there's a lot of possibilities here. You can either give it to Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin and not pin the Usos, so that feud can continue right there with the Usos having a legitimate reason and making that a little more interesting. Or with how over Rusev and Aiden English are at this point with the Rusev Day thing. Everybody's doing the Rusev Day, making puns with the Rusev Day stuff. Maybe you give it to them. I'd like to see them with the tag team championships. That sounds interesting. I mean, they're in this matchup. I guess you should have a reason for them to be in here. And winning the tag team titles wouldn't be too bad a reason. The New Day now, they're at a point where they shouldn't even be winning tag team championships. The New Day is at a point where they should be putting other teams over. I really don't understand why they are in this matchup. There's really no need for them to be in this matchup. But they are nonetheless, and I think if there's a team that's not winning this matchup, it's going to be the New Day. Now, if I had a choice, I'd keep it on the Usos. I still think the Usos are the best tag team in the WWE today, probably in all professional wrestling today. I mean, the Young Bucks would probably have something to say about that. But the Usos are a fantastic tag team, and I think that shouldn't be put to waste. I think you keep the titles on these guys, especially considering that this is a multi-man match. I don't want to see them lose the titles in a multi-man match, which is probably going to be a botch fest, because how are you going to coordinate a match like this, realistically? I want to see them lose the titles in a 2-on-2 scenario after a classic tag team matchup. There's no reason they should be losing the titles in a matchup like this on a pay-per-view like this. I'd much rather see them lose the titles at the Royal Rumble at an actual pay-per-view that means something, because the Usos mean something with the great work they have done. So that's what I think about that. Do not like all the teams in this matchup. Think there was a better way to go about this and to book these teams if you really wanted to on the pay-per-view, and it would have, if you ask me, made the pay-per-view better. But of course WWE loves their multi-man matches and needs everybody on the show. So that's the way they went about it. I don't agree with it, but I do think the Usos should keep the titles. But if I had to say something I think WWE is going to do, I think they're going to put the titles on Benjamin and Gable just to have it be that the Usos lost the titles without being pinned. So there you go with that one. We move on here to the United States Championship matchup, and that is a triple threat matchup. Again, more multi-man matches on this show. It's Baron Corbin versus Bobby Roode versus Dolph Ziggler. And the name Dolph Ziggler is immediately where I have an issue with this match. Because, I mean, Bobby Roode versus Baron Corbin singles match, I mean, it's not the most appealing thing of all time. Clearly, it's not something that's going to have me jumping out of my chair in glee. But Bobby Roode winning the United States Championship and take it off Baron Corbin, who's realistically doing nothing with the championship. I mean, he's a good hand, but he's not doing anything for the title, and it doesn't seem to be that the title's doing anything for him. I think Bobby Roode, especially as a babyface, maybe you can actually put some use to Bobby Roode's babyface run, put this title on him, have him defend the title more frequently, and have some prestige be brought back to this United States Championship, which right now seems to be in a state of disarray, bro. Realistically, you can have Bobby Roode challenge, have multiple challenges for this championship. I'd love to see Bobby Roode versus Ty Dillinger. I'd love to see Bobby Roode in a rematch, in a singles matchup with Baron Corbin that actually got time. Maybe a Bobby Roode versus a Rusev, who I think could still fit into being a singles competitor if you wanted him to. There's a lot of things you can do on SmackDown. Like Bobby Roode versus Kevin Owens, Bobby Roode versus Sami Zayn for that United States Championship. Sounds absolutely fantastic. You can do all those matches. Put the title on Roode. You can do great things. And I thought you could very easily do that, having Corbin and Roode go into a singles matchup on this show. But Dolph Ziggler had to be added to this matchup. Why? I have no goddamn idea. Dolph Ziggler has not won a matchup in God knows how long. Dolph Ziggler has not been on television before this in God knows how long. And there's even rumors going around that this guy is going to be gone from the WWE soon. So why the hell is this guy being put in a United States Championship matchup? It's a wee attempt to get this guy on television. It's not necessary, bro. It's really not. I mean, he's doing nothing in this championship matchup. And if you are going to do that, at least have him do something to contend for the United States Championship instead of just being on television, rotting away, or on this television screen in this position where he just showed up and did nothing to be there. It makes no sense to me, and I'm sure it makes no sense to you. Why is Dolph Ziggler in this matchup? And the explanation for this was because I'm that damn good. Really, Ziggler? That's the best you got? That's the best you got. My lord. Anyways, the build to this matchup has been nothing. It was literally a backstage segment between Dolph Ziggler, Bobby Roode, and Baron Corbin. And then Dolph Ziggler in a matchup between Bobby Roode and Baron Corbin, zigzagging Corbin and Roode. And then Roode in a matchup between Dolph Ziggler and Baron Corbin. Glorious DDTing. There you go. Glorious DDTing Corbin and Ziggler. So Ziggler got a 1-up. Corbin got a 1-up. Who do you think is going to win this matchup? Who do you think is going to win this matchup? I very easily see Baron Corbin retaining his United States Championship. So that leads me to the purpose of why Dolph Ziggler is in this matchup. He's very clearly in this matchup to eat the pin. Why? Because you don't want to pin Bobby Roode. I think Bobby Roode's only been pinned like once, and that was actually by Dolph Ziggler, which is ridiculous. But, I mean, Bobby Roode has barely been pinned. He was pinned at the Survivor Series, actually. But you want to, my point is, you want to keep Bobby Roode looking strong. As much as WWE does to F that up, you want to keep Bobby Roode looking strong. Baron Corbin's going to retain the United States Championship for some unknown reason, because WWE is stupid. Again, this is why I say what I want to happen and what I think is going to happen. I think Baron Corbin is going to retain. I want Bobby Roode to win the title. And it makes a lot of sense for Bobby Roode to win the title. But at the end of the day, Dolph Ziggler is going to eat the pin. And I think we can all agree with that one. At the end of the day, Dolph Ziggler is going to eat defeat. So, you got Baron Corbin winning this matchup. Dolph Ziggler taking the pin. That's his only purpose in this matchup. And what's left of Bobby Roode? Since Bobby Roode never took the pin, you can continue the feud with Roode going into the Royal Rumble and have Bobby Roode, I guess, win the title at the Rumble if WWE wants to be all perky and nice. So I guess that's what they're trying to do here, but I don't even know about that. I'm just thinking they have Ziggler in this matchup to eat the pin, and they want Baron Corbin to retain the United States Championship, because there you go. Makes no goddamn sense to me. I would say have Bobby Roode win it, but of course, WWE is WWE, and they never give you anything good. So, of course, they have to go in this direction. Of course, I think that the Rude Corbin feud is going to continue past Clash of Champions, of course, without Ziggler in the scenario. As far as what Ziggler goes to doing after this, he fades back into obscurity. So that's my prediction. Corbin wins, Ziggler eats the pin, Rude continues his feud with Corbin after the Champions pay-per-view. We move on here to this women's matchup, which could not look less appealing. Women's championship matchup, it's Natalya versus Charlotte. The momentum that Charlotte had coming out of her women's championship win has been absolutely dwindled in every respect. This woman won the championship in front of her hometown. Her father came out and congratulated her after the match. It was a great moment. Then at the Survivor Series, she went and beat Alexa Bliss. Charlotte was looking good. Then after the Survivor Series, you debut this faction gimmick. Charlotte gets beaten down by these women who have absolutely nothing to do with each other in the Riot Squad, and the women's division goes back to being absolute garbage, and every single bit of momentum in Charlotte's championship reign is deleted. Anyways, besides Charlotte's momentum being gone, on top of that, alright, you got all these women in the division. You decided to bring in the Riot Squad, right? You decided to call up Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan, who sounds like some country hick lady who doesn't know what the hell she's talking about and is so pro-Trump that they don't even know anything else going on in the world besides what Donald Trump's penis looks like. And then you got over here Liv Morgan, who looks like she's ready to pop a bubble gum out her mouth and go play with her Barbie dolls. Then you got Ruby Riott, who's clearly legitimate. And if you ask me, Ruby Riott should have been the only one called up. But you got all these women. So what do you do? What do? You got all these women. Your women's roster is looking pretty nice. So you have Ruby Riott contend for the women's championship. Well, no. What has she done to contend for the women's championship? You have a tournament to determine who is going to challenge for Charlotte's women's championship at Clash of Champions. Oh no, we're not that smart. We're not that smart. WWE's not that smart. Don't give them too much credit now. So what do? We want all the women on the pay-per-view, right? We want all the women on the pay-per-view, right? Yeah, we do. So, let's put them in a lumberjack match. My God. What worse stipulation can you have for a matchup at all than a lumberjack matchup? That's one of the most underwhelming stipulations that I have ever heard of. And on top of that, you barely got any women to stand out of the ring. It's like 8 women standing outside of the ring, 7 women minus Becky Lynch, because you have 10 women in your division. So pretty much you have 7 women standing outside of the ring, and I mean, it's a matchup between Natalya and Charlotte. So you're not interested in seeing Natalya and Charlotte to begin with, then the matchup needs to be made predictable garbage because it's a lumberjack matchup, and it needs to be made underwhelming garbage because it is a lumberjack matchup. My God. If you ask me, the way this matchup ends is that the Riot Squad jumps in and just starts attacking Charlotte and Natalya so the matchup doesn't end, or Charlotte somehow finds a way to beat Natalya due to the bullshit that is going on outside because it's a lumberjack matchup. That's all I can tell you on that one. We move on to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Randy Orton. You cannot get more underwhelming than a tag team matchup between these guys on a pay-per-view. I mean, we've already seen this tag team matchup on Smackdown. Oh, but there's a stipulation to it. Shane McMahon is a special guest referee, and now Daniel Bryan is a second special guest referee. So this matchup is already going to be madness. It's going to be referees getting knocked out all over the place, false tags, all this confusion going to be going on in this matchup. You can already tell, and the stipulation is that if Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn lose, they are fired from all of the WWE, as if Shane McMahon even has the authority to do that. So the thing that they have been building here is the tension between Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan. And I think what's going to happen is that Shane McMahon is going to make a decision that overall fires Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and then Daniel Bryan is going to reverse that decision. He's going to say, no, that's not the case. The match is not over, which is going to allow Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn to win the matchup, and that's overall going to lead into tension between Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon that leads into this possible feud, because the rumors have been that there's going to be a big thing going on with Daniel Bryan at Clash of Champions. He's clearly a special guest referee, and he's the second special guest referee in a matchup with Shane McMahon in it, and it's kind of what you've been building towards. So I think it's going to be something between these guys, a kerfuffle between these guys on the pay-per-view that's going to allow Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn to win the matchup, because Daniel Bryan is going to count the pin, and he's going to reverse a Shane McMahon decision, or Shane McMahon is going to do something corrupt, and Daniel Bryan's going to get in there and be like, hey, what are you doing? And in the end, I think Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are going to be the victors here, and it's going to lead to something, some tension between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn that is ultimately going to have Shane McMahon turn heel on Daniel Bryan, because Shane McMahon has been very corrupt. He really has been. So I think that's what's going to happen, and we're going to go into a Shane McMahon, Daniel Bryan, more intense hating of each other, where so far it's been subtle. So there you go with that one. As far as the matchup goes, I expect it to be good. I mean, you got Nakamura and Orton in there. I just don't want Nakamura taking the pin. Have Orton take the pin. That's all I ask of you. So there you go with that one. And then we got AJ Styles versus Jinder Mahal. I mean, what can you ask of this matchup? Realistically, it's just going to be AJ Styles trying to carry Jinder Mahal to the best matchup he can, because that's what AJ Styles does. He brings others to great matches, and you got to love AJ Styles for that, by the way. He's fantastic in the ring, and this matchup is probably going to end up being good, but in the end, we've seen the climax of this feud already. We have seen the climax of this feud, and it has been AJ Styles winning the WWE Championship from Jinder Mahal, and Jinder Mahal losing the championship to AJ Styles. That has been the climax of this feud. We have seen that. So what else is there to see? I'm just waiting for this feud to be over, and I'm waiting for what comes after this feud. And what's coming after this feud is that AJ Styles is going to go into a WWE Championship feud with somebody who we actually want to see him feuding with, whether it's Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, whether it's one combination. I'd rather see Sami Zayn fighting AJ Styles with Kevin Owens in his corner for the WWE Championship at the Royal Rumble. That sounds absolutely magnificent if you ask me. Or maybe you can throw in Randy Orton or not Shinsuke Nakamura. Maybe you can have Randy Orton challenging AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. But hopefully AJ Styles can actually go into a WWE Championship feud that we actually want to see, and Jinder Mahal can fade away and classify himself as obsolete, because he is the modern day failure Raha. And I mean, we can see something good on Smackdown Live, because I've said this for months. The WWE Championship is the center point of television on Smackdown Live. On any show that it's on, it's the center point of television. It's supposed to be. And for months, it hasn't been. It's been a sideline title. It's been obscure garbage, bro. That's what it's been. You've had something else in the main event picture for this entire time. While Jinder Mahal has been feuding with AJ Styles, it's been the Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Shane McMahon stuff that has been at the forefront of television. Hopefully, we can get past this Jinder Mahal garbage, and something with AJ Styles regarding his WWE Championship can be at the forefront of television, because I am absolutely tired of seeing this fool, and I finally want to see something where we can have a great matchup, a great feud, and something that we can actually invest ourselves in. I can't invest myself at all in Jinder Mahal. I tried that as much as I could when he first started his WWE Championship reign, and that quickly fell. He started winning matches the same way every time. His in-ring skills were absolutely garbage. His promos turned into the same repetitive, awful garbage every time we heard it, and it just became disinteresting and straight up boring. And I know that's something we're not going to get with AJ Styles. AJ Styles is all about defending that WWE Championship, and that's why I want him as WWE Champion, because he can put on the great matches. He is the best in-ring performer, and realistically, your best in-ring performer should be your WWE Champion, and that's what AJ Styles is. He's a great champion. He's a great representative of what WWE should be, and he's holding that WWE Championship. I have no doubt he will retain. If WWE gives his title back to Mahal, you can already expect a gunshot in my head, because my God, is Jinder Mahal garbage, bro. And I have no expectations for this guy to be your champion coming out of Clash of Champions, because that would be a modern day failure raha in and of itself. So for now, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got for you. That's your preview and predictions for Clash of Champions. I hope you agreed with all my opinions on this pay-per-view. Make sure to go check out all the other content on the Ringside Wrestling channel. Raw reviews, Smackdown reviews, pay-per-view reviews, all that good stuff right here on Ringside Wrestling. So make sure to go check all that out. Support the channel by subscribing, and of course, make sure to smash that like button. Question of the day: what do you think is going to be the best match at Clash of Champions? For now, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Joel Perez of Ringside Wrestling Entertainment, and for now, I am out of here. Thank you very, very much for watching this video. I will see you on Saturday for Behind the Mic, episode number 49.